This is not a religion rant. There's a little dig in religion at near the very end for anyone who's looking forward to it, but this isn't about religion. It's more about beauty, acceptance, and all that kind of stuff. This was originally a comment response to the using the all-encompassing meaning of the word beautiful human being Love Lizzie at DeviantArt and her journal entry that she also wrote called "Discrimination is Discrimination." And she made very valid points and all that stuff. I just wanted to respond pretty much to the title. My title response is "Discrimination isn't always wrong. It depends on how you apply it." When it comes to abusive men, women, child molesters, or rapists, I'd say some discrimination is valid. She mentions discrimination against the popular kids by the unpopular kids because, unpopular kids, is it okay just for unpopular kids to make fun of the popular kids too? Discrimination against the popular kids has its root in how the popular kids treat the unpopular kids. We respond to cruelty with the only weapon we have, our witty insults. Discrimination based on a person's actions toward others and not necessarily their behavior is absolutely necessary in our society. The thing is, we're all individual humans and not everyone agrees on what should be discriminated against, which is where secular thinking is the most important. What affects all people, regardless of how, where, or who they are born to. And I agree wholeheartedly about the health issue. She went into health should be the issue when you're losing weight, not the actual losing weight. I agree wholeheartedly about the health issue. Health is the issue, but it's not all about losing or gaining weight. She did not write anything in disagreement with this. I'm just reinforcing what she was getting at. I've mentioned this story before, and I'll tell it again. One of my big, beautiful woman exes had at least 100, 150 pounds on me. I was from about 140, 170 pounds while I was living with her. And I walked everywhere back then. 25 minutes to and 25 minutes back from work every day. And I had no car for 5 years straight. I walked everywhere. I'm a relatively fast walker anyway. Most people tell me to slow down. She still had lower bad cholesterol than me, and she could outwalk me in both speed and endurance. Health is not all about size. While extremes in size will cause health problems, it's not unhealthy just to be fat or just to be skinny. Not to mention the stories I've been emailed from active plus-sized Marines and ballerinas and act just all over the place. And the reason these visual art groups support, she mentions something about discriminating between a thinner model and an overweight model, because her fans tend to be those who like the bigger women, because she is a bigger woman and models herself as well. But she just wanted to ask, why do we have to discriminate against that kind of beauty? Well, the reason these visual art groups support one body form or the other is because we are very visual monkeys. While you don't personally see a difference in the beauty, everyone's aesthetics will be different, which she did address. I can see that first photo of the skinny model as beautifully shot, but to my personal eyes, to my brain's individual calibration, the subject matter is nowhere near as attracting as the second shot, the plus-sized model. And I have a right to think that way. What I do not have a right to do is tell everyone that they should think it's ugly if I do. I don't think the skinny woman picture was ugly in that journal entry at all, but just to make a point. Just because my own personal preferences aren't met, I shouldn't have to force everyone else to think that their personal preferences haven't been met. Unless it exploits or glorifies anorexia or bulimia specifically, or any other kind of abuse, intent tends to help make something either beautiful or hideous, and us humans sometimes have to make other humans aware of what constitutes abuse. So while I do not discriminate against skinny models for existing, I do have discriminating tastes when it comes to models, and just some things visually speak to me and some don't. Not all BBW are drawing worthy to my own personal sets of taste either, but that's not to say that if I haven't drawn you yet, I don't like your shape. While that's inevitably the case for a very rare few, I literally am just an art funk and can't seem to produce like I used to. But neither are all skinny women asexual to me. it would be dishonest to say sexual drive wasn't part of, if not the entire reason we humans appreciate the forms of each other's bodies in artwork. It may not always be linked to a sexual thought itself, but we wouldn't be interested at all if it were not initially conducive to mating. And one of my main problems with society, which only fuels discrimination, there are so many groups of people who invent problems just so they can sell you the cure and have people police you into buying into the cure. You're not beautiful enough the way you are. Buy this makeup, razor, diet pill, and you will be. Or, you have a soul, but your ancestors were evil. Therefore you are evil. So your soul is in danger. So believe in this book and these people without any other evidence for their story or the existence of a soul in the first place, and become a voter head for our anti-human rights agendas, and you'll be saved. And people will jump at these things out of pure ignorance and wishful thinking because no one else taught them better. Learning about and discriminating against the people, often companies, who spend their lives figuring out the best ways to use and abuse people for their own personal gain is a major step in progressing our culture out of ignorance. It's too bad ignorance is so seductive because it's easy and lazy, enabling. And by no means am I saying to generalize a certain group of people as being the kind of people we need to discriminate against. Usually it's individuals in a group, or individuals leading a small portion of the bigger group. But discrimination based solely on looks should only apply within our own brain, your own brain, with your own selection of mates or visual stimuli, and you have a right to love some things and hate some other things. Just don't tell someone else that they should love or hate those things without maybe providing some good reasons. And if they still don't agree, then their brain is just put together differently than yours in that way, and that's the beauty of the human experience. Cherish the differences and move on. Accepting again for obviously abusive traits towards individuals who do not enjoy nor give explicit permission for said abuse. If it doesn't affect your life or someone else's life in a way they don't like, then don't cause a fuss. Everyone should be able to enjoy and be repulsed by whatever their brain tells them, so long as they don't expect everybody to agree and aren't forcing themselves on someone who doesn't want it. But there's no crime in hoping at least someone else out there does think the same things you do about something. When someone else is sharing their opinion, which may be unpopular, don't automatically take it as if they're attacking your preferences or trying to force things on you. Usually it's just a hand reaching out to see if someone else at all thinks the same way on some given topic. Just a way to find someone to relate to. So everyone stop being so defensive of your own preferences just because someone is describing their own that don't match yours. That's just as big a problem as those who relentlessly try to push their ideas on you. Love Lizzie does none of that, so that wasn't a response to anything specific she said. The last part just trailed off into my own usual rantiness. And so long as you've chosen to keep your ears open to these words, I'm not pushing anything on you. I'm speaking what my brain has processed on these topics in hopes that some of you will understand, and that some won't, to spark some discussion. It was your choice to process these words with your ears and brain. I am interested in comments and discussion, but keep the trolling to a minimum. Being a voice for those who don't often feel safe expressing their opinion has always been a goal of mine, but giving those who don't relate to me some other perspectives to think about has also been a major goal. But again, if they don't want it, I stop. Or you stop reading or watching. Whatever comes first.